I believe Dabo Swinney has taken over for Les Miles as the king of the post-game interview, and his Clemson Tigers are one game away and one big victory away from claiming themselves as the kings of college football. The Clemson Tigers 14-0 after demolishing the Oklahoma Sooners 37-17. A very close and very competitive first half, and Clemson took over in the third quarter. Mark Rogers TV with some instant analysis. We talked about it all week with a number of bloggers across the country, and our own analysis in regards to the Oklahoma running game being key in this game. Oklahoma needed to run to win. We felt as though Clemson could win without the running game, but if they ran the ball, and they did, well, we saw the result. So Oklahoma, Samaje Perine out of the gate was running well. He got the football 5 times on the opening drive for Oklahoma, ran it 5 times for 33 yards, and it looked like Oklahoma would be able to run on Clemson. Oklahoma scores a touchdown on its opening drive at 7-0. Now Perine 5 for 33 in that opening drive. Finished 15 for 58. He only saw the ball 10 more times on the ground the rest of the game. Now, much of that had to do with the left ankle sprain, so Perine hobbling. We saw that later in the game. Joe Mixon, the speedy back, the change-up back for Oklahoma, he was nicked up on a block, a backside block, springing Baker Mayfield down the left sideline in the third quarter. So Mixon out of the game, and Ross had to come in for Oklahoma. So the Sooners came into the game with more quality running back depth, but it didn't stand up against Wayne Gallman. Gallman had an exceptional game in this one, finished up at 26 carries for $150 and 2 touchdowns. Gallman didn't see the ball much in the first half. He was effective when he got it, but 9 carries. And I definitely felt after the first half that Gallman needed to see the ball more, and so did Dabo Swinney. And Clemson went to Gallman in the third quarter. He carried the load and took much of the weight off of the shoulders of Deshaun Watson, who played another exceptional game. Really had the one major mistake at the end of the first half. Clemson could have gone up by a score late in the first half, 13 seconds left. The Tigers driving. Deshaun Watson hesitated and tried to fit it in to Sharon Peak, and that was picked off by Zach Sanchez, his 7th interception of the season. Oklahoma led it 17-16. But after that first drive, even though the Sooners led it the break, Clemson just appeared to be the faster, more physical football team all night in this one. They lost Shaq Lawson, and we talked about him all week. The monster of the Clemson front 7, 22.5 tackles for loss, double-digit sacks, and Lawson was knocked out in the first possession. And Kevin Dodd and company for Clemson picked up the slack from there. Ben Boulware, B.J. Goodson with a key interception as Clemson was up by 2 scores, but Oklahoma was driving at that point. And my goodness, the Clemson defense looked ferocious in this one. The front 7 in containing Perine to 15 carries for 58 yards. And he doesn't put up stat lines like that. That is unheard of for Samaje Perine, who ran for 1,300 yards. For Clemson to do that and also chase Baker Mayfield all over the lot and contain him 90% of the time, that was the difference in the game, despite Deshaun Watson being spectacular and Clemson putting up 33 points in this game, 37 points in this game. The front 7 for Clemson won the game. Also, credit Mackenzie Alexander for shadowing Sterling Shepard, who caught 7 passes, 87 yards, so the stats look good, but he was contained. He didn't make any huge plays in this game. Clemson defensively was superior, and I questioned that coming into this game, considering they gave up big plays to North Carolina. They were run all over the place by Jacoby Brissett at North Carolina State, lesser offenses seemingly than Oklahoma. But it turned out to be the Oklahoma offensive line not being able to deal with the Clemson defensive line. And that was the game. That was the game. And Deshaun Watson, of course, making plays all over the place. He had a $115 on the ground at halftime. They, again, relied more on Gallman in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, letting Watson be a quarterback. He still finished with, 24 carries for $145 and a touchdown for Deshaun Watson. And Clemson racked up 530 yards of total offense against Oklahoma, and that was the difference. There it is. Clemson dominates Oklahoma 37-17. Dabo Swinney did not consider his group to be an underdog. We did, but we took Clemson plus the 3.5 points, but wanted that cushion. Didn't need it. Clemson wins. They march on to the national championship game against the winner of Alabama and Michigan State. Oklahoma fans, let's hear from you. I heard a ton of chatter on Facebook and Twitter about Bob Stoops being big game Bob Stoops once again. Credit Oklahoma for winning the Big 12, getting to this point in the season. They have won plenty of big games over the past 15 years, but not the game, and they'll have to wait until 2016 at this point. All right, Clemson versus Michigan State, Alabama. Need to hear from you now on Mark Rogers TV.